to his land.
Hello, sweet friends. Tonight, we're curling up with a calming tale that carries you far away from the weight of the day into a place where the sky is brushed with lavender and the whole world seems to hum in harmony. Imagine yourself stepping gently onto a path that leads to Ponyville. Just as the sun is melting into the horizon, painting the air in colors so soft they almost feel like velvet. You can hear the faint chorus of evening birds bidding goodnight, and you catch that first sigh of coolness drifting in after the warmth of the day. It's the sort of moment that feels like a sigh in your own chest, the kind that loosens every knot you didn't realize you were holding. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if this story carries you someplace gentle, share it with your friends, maybe tell them your location and what time it is for you right now. It's fun to imagine how many of us, scattered across the globe, are listening together beneath the same stars. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You walk along the entry path to Ponyville as the last ribbons of sunset stretch across the sky, a mixture of pink and golden threads dissolving into dusky violet. The cobblestones beneath your feet are warm from the day, but you can feel them slowly cooling, as though the earth itself is preparing to slip into slumber. The air smells faintly of hay, apples, and the sweet grass that grows along the hedges, with a tiny pinch of chimney smoke beginning to lace through it. Someone nearby has already started a kettle of tea, and the steam drifts lazily into the twilight. The first sound you truly notice is the hush. It isn't silence. Ponyville is never silent, but rather a gentle layering of sounds that weave together without crowding. A cricket begins its rhythm, steady and predictable, and soon another joins from across the way. Somewhere in the distance, a wooden shutter closes with a soft creak, like the world tucking itself into bed. Even the breeze seems to have a melody, rustling the leaves in a rhythm so unhurried, it makes you unconsciously match your breath to its pattern. You stroll past the first little houses, their windows glowing golden like lanterns. Inside, ponies are finishing their suppers, voices muffled and happy. A child's laughter bubbles up, followed by the sound of a lullaby sung off-key, but with so much love, you can't help but smile. It's funny, you think. You probably wouldn't make it through a single Ponyville bedtime without nodding off halfway through the song. The atmosphere here is like a friendly spell, one you can feel sinking into your shoulders, softening everything. Your steps slow as you reach the town square. The fountain there is lit by tiny lamps, their reflections twinkling in the water. The gentle splash of the fountain adds another note to the evening symphony. You pause, listening. The sound is steady, like a heartbeat, and the way it mixes with the distant calls of doves settling into their roosts makes you feel as if the whole town itself is breathing deeply with you. Above, the first stars poke through. They twinkle not with urgency, but with patience, as though reminding you that sleep, too, is a kind of starlight, a soft glow waiting for you, never rushing. You tilt your head back and imagine those stars humming along with the lullabies that float through the air. As you wander farther, you notice lanterns strung across the street, each one swaying slightly in the breeze. The glow they cast is dappled, flickering softly against the cobblestones, and in those moving shadows, you see shapes that almost look like playful ponies dancing, gentle reminders that even nighttime has its joys. A pony walks past you, offering a nod and a smile. Her voice, when she hums a tune to herself, carries no demand, no sharp edge, only warmth. You don't need to know the words of her song. The melody itself is like being wrapped in a blanket that remembers every hug you've ever had. There's something magical in this twilight hour. It is neither the noise of day nor the stillness of deep night. It's the in-between space where everything is tender. You can almost feel Ponyville itself leaning toward you, whispering, "Here you are safe. Here you can rest." Your gaze drifts toward the fields beyond the houses. Fireflies blink to life one by one, tiny lanterns of their own, carrying secret lullabies with each pulse. They move in patterns that are unpredictable, yet somehow soothing, like the way dreams drift when you're just about to fall asleep. The air is so clear, you can hear the soft buzzing of their wings, a sound so faint you wouldn't catch it if you weren't already softened by the evening. And as you stand there, the chorus of Ponyville's Dusk deepens. Frogs join in with their low notes, almost like a bass line beneath the higher trills of birds and the hush of leaves. Every sound has its place. Nothing tries to take the spotlight. Nothing interrupts. Instead, each note knows its role in this orchestra of rest. You take a deep breath. In, out. The air moves through you like a melody itself, and you realize the lullabies of Ponyville aren't just songs sung by ponies. They're hidden in everything. The wind, the water, the footsteps, the laughter, the hush of a door closing for the night. And now you feel it, the subtle shift, the way your heartbeat is sinking to the rhythms around you. You are no longer a visitor. You are part of the lullaby. Lanterns glow like little suns suspended on strings, swaying gently in the breeze as you make your way further down the street. They flicker, not with urgency, but with the steady patience of an old friend waiting for you to arrive. Each golden orb casts a pool of light onto the cobblestones, and as you pass through them, you feel as though you are walking through a series of quiet embraces, one after the other, until your whole body seems wrapped in a quilt of warmth. The first ponies you meet are not hurried or distracted. They are moving slowly, with that particular unspoken agreement communities share in the evening, when the work of the day is done, and there is no need to rush anywhere. You hear a soft hello from a stall owner folding her empty crates, her voice as gentle as the rustle of fabric. Another pony tips his hat to you, not with flourish, but with kindness, as though acknowledging that you, too, are part of the peace settling over the town. Children scurry nearby, but even their play has softened. The giggles are hushed, muffled as if the night itself has asked for quieter tones. You smile to yourself, because you've seen the opposite kind of evenings before. The frantic, sugar-fueled chaos where no one seems able to settle down. But here, even the little ones seem enchanted by the calm. One colt runs with a lantern clutched between his teeth, and you can't help but chuckle, realizing you'd probably trip over your own hooves if you tried the same. The air carries scents that make you feel instantly at home. Freshly baked bread cooling on a windowsill, a hint of cinnamon drifting from a small kitchen, and the faint sweetness of hay carried from the meadows outside town. Every inhalation feels like a lullaby sung to your senses, a reminder that nourishment and comfort go hand in hand. As you continue, you notice the soft creak of wagon wheels rolling home. A mare hums as she pulls her cart. The tune is familiar to her as her own heartbeat. It isn't a song for performance. It's a song meant for herself. And somehow, that makes it even more beautiful. The sound threads itself into the fabric of the evening, blending seamlessly with the rhythmic clip-clop of her hooves. Up above, swallows wheel in lazy circles, their cries faint, fading as they find their places to rest for the night. You watch them disappear into the eaves of a barn, and the sight feels like a punctuation mark in the sentence of Twilight, a reminder that every creature here, winged or hoofed, has a place where it belongs. You pause by a lamppost where a pair of ponies stand chatting softly. Their conversation is light-hearted but unhurried, the kind of talk that drifts without destination. You don't need to hear the words to feel the rhythm of their voices, and it strikes you how even ordinary speech can sound like part of a lullaby when shared in kindness. The tone is as soothing as a rocking chair moving back and forth, steady and predictable. Everywhere you turn, there is a gesture of welcome. A pony waves you toward a bench near the fountain, as though inviting you to rest your hooves. Another offers you a small cup of warm cider. Just a sip, she insists, her eyes twinkling. You lift it, taste it, and discover it is both sweet and grounding, the kind of flavor that roots you in the present moment. You chuckle softly to yourself. If every bedtime came with cider like this, sleep would never be a struggle. The lanterns overhead flicker again, and you notice how their light has grown softer, as though dimming in perfect harmony with the sky. The dusk has deepened into velvet indigo, and the first fireflies now mingle with the lantern glow, their tiny sparks rising and falling in playful rhythm. It feels like the universe itself is leaning down, scattering little seeds of light just for you. A small filly passes by carrying a basket of flowers, their petals brushing together with a whisper that sounds almost like music. She greets you shyly, then trots on, leaving behind the faint fragrance of daisies. It lingers for just a moment before being carried away by the breeze, like a fleeting note in a larger symphony. It's in this moment you realize that greetings in Ponyville are more than simple courtesies. They are small gifts of sound, rhythm, and intention. Each hello carries with it the unspoken promise, you are not alone here. And isn't that what we crave most? Especially when the night stretches wide and our minds race. That reassurance that others are near, that we are safe in their company? You lean back against a wooden post and simply listen. The laughter of children, the hush of parents calling them in, the neigh of a horse from a nearby stable, the crickets weaving their steady song underneath it all. Together, they create a kind of tapestry. Nothing competes. Nothing drowns out the other. It is as though every sound has rehearsed for this very evening, for the singular purpose of soothing you. And in this harmony, you find yourself smiling again. You think of how different the world might feel if every town chose to greet the night with lanterns, with hushed voices, with a chorus of kindness. The thought makes you feel lighter, as if even your worries have lanterns hung above them now, their harshness dimmed into something gentle. The path continues, guiding you toward the edge of town. Yet you carry these greetings with you, tucked like warm embers in your chest. You realize that in Ponyville, night doesn't simply arrive. It is welcomed, ushered in with ceremony and affection. Each lantern lit like a note in the lullaby of Twilight. And as you walk on, you are part of it, glowing softly among the rest. The lanterns fade into the distance as your path curves gently toward the edge of town, where cottages lean against the whispering woods. It's here that you find Fluttershy's home, a place so delicate it feels as though it might dissolve into the evening air if you breathed too hard. Her cottage isn't large or grand. It's humble, tucked into the roots of a hill, with windows that glow like honey and vines that drape like lullaby notes frozen in green. The bridge leading across the brook creaks softly beneath your hooves, and you catch sight of her garden where flowers tilt their faces toward the night, drinking in the silver of the rising moon. You pause here, because something about this place insists on stillness. The air carries no rush, no urgency, only the layered hush of wings folding, crickets tuning their tiny fiddles, and frogs clearing their throats for the night's performance. Every sound is softer here, as though it's been passed through a filter of care. Even the breeze seems to tiptoe, rustling the leaves gently so as not to wake anyone already dozing. A bird perches on the cottage roof, feathers fluffed, and releases one last trill before tucking its head beneath its wing. Another answers from the woods, but its reply is quieter, as if trying not to disturb the first. You can almost imagine the two of them whispering goodnight, like siblings sharing a bunk bed. The sound makes you smile. You've probably had nights like that yourself, whispering to a friend or a child until sleep finally claimed you both. Fluttershy's presence is felt even before you see her. You notice the harmony in how animals settle, how rabbits curl into one another, how mice tuck themselves into burrows without fuss. Such calm doesn't happen by accident. It's guided by her voice, her steady patience. And though you don't hear her now, you know that somewhere inside she is murmuring, perhaps singing a tune so soft even the walls themselves are leaning in to listen. You close your eyes, and the world sharpens through sound alone. The brook babbles, its rhythm uneven yet hypnotic, water tapping against stone like fingertips on a drum. Insects hum, high-pitched and steady, like the sustained note of a violin. The leaves sigh overhead, weaving in and out like background singers. It all blends into a lullaby without lyrics, a melody crafted by nature itself. And just as you are sinking into that music, you catch a whisper, the gentlest flutter of wings. You look up to see a family of bats slipping into the night, their silhouettes gliding across the moonlit sky. Their flight is silent, yet you feel their presence like brushstrokes painting the canvas of dusk. The silence they leave behind is part of the lullaby, too, a reminder that absence can sing just as clearly as sound. From inside the cottage, a window opens, and warm light spills out. You glimpse Fluttershy briefly, her mane tumbling around her like a waterfall of pink, her movements as unhurried as the turning of pages in an old storybook. She doesn't call out or wave. She doesn't need to. The stillness she radiates extends far beyond her home, wrapping itself around you where you stand on the bridge. You chuckle softly. You'd probably fall asleep right here if you lingered too long, leaning against the railing while the brook hummed and the crickets played. It's the kind of place that disarms even the most stubborn wakefulness. If insomnia dared to wander into this cottage clearing, it would be handed a pillow and gently shown the door. The night deepens, and the lullaby grows more layered. A soft hoot echoes from an owl in the tree line, low and round, like the bass of this orchestra. Somewhere close, a nightingale tries a few phrases, its song flowing upward like a ribbon. Each note lands delicately, never startling, never jarring. You realize you're hearing what could only exist here, in this exact arrangement of place, time, and care. And then it hits you. This is why Ponyville's lullabies are unlike any other. They aren't written on parchment or memorized from a score. They're lived, breathed, grown in harmony between ponies and nature, each note coaxed into being by kindness. Fluttershy doesn't command her world. She invites it to rest, and it does so gladly. The longer you stay, the more the sounds seep into you. Your breath slows, your shoulders loosen, your mind softens its chatter. You realize you've become part of the hush yourself, another instrument in the quiet symphony of Fluttershy's cottage, and the thought brings you peace. You don't need to try to sleep here. Sleep finds you as naturally as the brook finds its way to the river. The moonlight glints on the brook, scattering shards of silver across the surface, and you feel it's time to move on. But as you step away, you carry the hush with you, tucked gently in your chest like a secret melody. Fluttershy's lullaby has done its work. You are softer now, lighter, and ready to drift deeper into Ponyville's night. The path meanders away from Fluttershy's cottage and carries you gently toward the heart of the countryside. The night air grows sweeter here, filled with the earthy perfume of grass that's been warmed all day beneath the sun. You catch the faint rustle of leaves brushing against one another like shy friends exchanging secrets. And beyond that, the first low chorus of crickets swelling into steady rhythm. Ahead, the land opens into wide, rolling orchards, where rows of apple trees stand like guardians of Twilight. This is Sweet Apple Acres at dusk, and you can already sense the lullaby waiting for you among its branches. As you step through the wooden gate, the scent embraces you fully. Ripe apples heavy with sugar, hay still clinging to daylight warmth, and the faint mineral tang of earth. Each breath feels grounding, like an anchor tethering you softly to the world. Somewhere in the distance, a cow lows, and the sound stretches across the fields with a weighty calm. You smile. The farm animals seem to be joining the evening choir, each voice contributing its part. The farmhouse windows glow warmly, but the activity inside has dimmed to gentle clinks of dishes and the quiet hum of voices winding down after supper. You don't need to peek in to know the Apple family is gathering close. Laughter softening into yawns, stories slipping toward the pauses that only come when eyelids grow heavy. Their peace spills outward, drifting across the fields until even the trees seem to hum with contentment. You wander deeper among the orchard rows. The branches arch overhead, their leaves whispering in layered harmony, and now and then an apple drops with a muffled thud into the grass below. The sound is unhurried, unbothered. A fruit letting go at its own time. There's a simple poetry in it, as though the tree itself is singing. Everything ripens in its season. Everything rests in its time. A breeze stirs, carrying with it the faintest chime of distant wind bells hanging on the porch. Their notes are delicate, each one lingering like a thought you almost forgot, but are glad return. The bells blend with the chirr of cicadas and the pluck-pluck of crickets, creating a rustic lullaby unlike anything you'd find in a polished concert hall. This music is raw, tender, alive. Somewhere overhead, an owl glides between branches, wings slicing the air so silently it feels more like a gesture than a movement. Its hoot follows soon after, low and hollow, reverberating across the orchard like a drumbeat marking the slow tempo of the night. You pause, leaning against a tree trunk, and close your eyes to listen. In the mingling of insect song, distant laughter, the wind's sigh, and the owl's call, you hear it again. That magical harmony Ponyville seems to know by heart. The grass beneath your hooves is soft, springy, like nature's own mattress laid out just for you. You lower yourself into it, letting the cool blades cradle you as the branches stretch overhead like a cathedral ceiling. Through the gaps, you glimpse the stars brightening now, scattered across the indigo sky like spilled sugar. Each star feels like an apple blossom frozen mid-bloom, its glow a gentle reminder that the orchard of the heavens is blooming too. The chorus of the night deepens. Frogs add their round notes from a pond nearby, blending seamlessly into the rhythm of crickets. Every so often, the wind stirs the orchard, and the leaves respond with a sigh so vast you feel it ripple through your chest. And though the sounds are layered and many, they never clash. They fit, like family around a table, each voice distinct, yet belonging. You chuckle softly to yourself, imagining how strange it would be if the apples themselves started singing, joining in with high, squeaky notes. The thought makes you grin, but then again, Isn't that the kind of whimsical thing that could very well happen in Ponyville? And if it did, you're certain even their voices would be gentle, a chorus of sweetness drifting down from every branch. As you lie there, you notice the faint creak of the orchard's old windmill turning in the breeze. Its wooden blades move slowly, groaning with age, but steady, faithful. The sound is like the heartbeat of the farm, never rushed, never faltering, always present. You match your breath to it without even realizing, inhaling as the blades swing upward, exhaling as they come down. Before long, your whole body feels in rhythm with the orchard, as though you've become part of its cycle, another voice in its lullaby. The deeper night settles, and with it comes a new kind of quiet. Not silence, but the softened hush that follows when the last chores are finished, and even the farm dogs curl into their straw beds. From the farmhouse porch, a faint song carries across the fields. You can't make out the words, but the melody is slow and familiar, sung with the ease of tradition passed from one voice to another, generation after generation. It doesn't matter what the lyrics say. What matters is the way the song drifts through the orchard, weaving itself into the night air, reminding every creature, pony, bird, cricket, listener, that it is time to rest. And you, too, feel that pull. Your body grows heavier, but in the sweetest way, like ripened fruit ready to drop gently into the grass. You don't resist it. Why would you? Sweet Apple Acres seems to whisper that rest isn't something you earn or fight for. It's something that comes, natural as the moon rising, inevitable as apples falling from the tree. You rise slowly, brushing stray blades of grass from your legs, and glance back at the farmhouse one more time. The glow in the windows has dimmed now, flickering low, as though the house itself is ready for sleep. The orchard hums behind you, content, unhurried, eternal. You carry its melody with you as you step back onto the path, softened by the lullabies of Sweet Apple Acres, ready to drift further into Ponyville's night. The path dips gently away from the orchard and carries you toward the sound of running water. At first, it's faint, a whisper beneath the chorus of crickets and frogs, but with every step it grows clearer, like a secret beckoning you closer. Soon, the trees thin, and you find yourself standing at the edge of a brook, its surface shimmering with the last traces of twilight. Here, the night sky leans down to meet its own reflection, scattering stars across the water as though the heavens themselves are doubled. You pause at the bank, listening. The stream has its own voice, a silvery murmur, bubbling where it tumbles over stones, sighing where it slides smoothly through reeds. It's playful, but never hurried. Each ripple seems to hum with quiet joy, as though the water knows the art of balancing rest with motion. You crouch, letting your hoof or hand graze the surface. The coolness tingles against your skin, a gentle shock that quickly fades into calm. The ripples scatter from your touch, carrying tiny rings of light into the current. And for a moment, you imagine they are notes released into a larger melody. Rainbow-hued reflections dance on the water, faint remnants of sunset still clinging to the horizon, mingling with moonlight, now rising higher. The colors shift, and weave together, ribbons of pink, silver, and soft blue, like a lullaby painted onto the stream itself. The way they move reminds you of a harp's strings being plucked one by one, each ripple a different chord. You realize you've been leaning forward, entranced, your breath naturally slowing to match the rhythm of the brook. A frog leaps into the water nearby with a soft plop, and the rings it makes expand into the brook's song without disrupting it. The sound is perfectly placed, as though it had been rehearsed. Another frog answers with a low croak, and then another, until the stream is accompanied by a bass line of amphibian voices. You chuckled to yourself. It feels like you've stumbled into a concert where every performer is perfectly in tune, and no one needed a conductor to know when to begin. The air here is cool, brushed with the faint sweetness of wildflowers blooming along the bank. Their fragrance drifts upward, carried by the stream's breath, soft and unassuming. Fireflies flit across the water, their tiny lanterns glowing like notes on a sheet of music. They blink on and off in patterns you can't predict but somehow find reassuring, like a lullaby that surprises you with new phrases, yet always circles back to its comforting refrain. You sit down on a smooth stone, letting the brook's hum wash over you. Its rhythm is steady enough to lull, yet varied enough to keep your mind gently engaged. This balance is soothing in its own right, like listening to a heartbeat that occasionally skips with laughter. The sound reminds you of nights spent by open windows, listening to rain patter against the glass. There's the same promise here. You don't need to do anything. The world is taking care of the soundtrack for you. A dragonfly skims across the surface, wings whispering with a papery buzz before darting into the reeds. The water swirls where it touched down, and the stream answers with a playful splash against a hidden rock. You grin again. It almost feels like the brook is improvising, adding flourishes to its lullaby. If you were to sit here all night, you're certain you'd never hear the same melody twice. As you lean back, the grass cushions you, and the stars overhead grow brighter in their reflection. The sky above and the brook below meet in such perfect symmetry that for a dizzying moment, you can't tell which way is up. You laugh softly. It would be just your luck to fall asleep right here, wake up, and try to walk across the water thinking it was a path of stars. But then again, in Ponyville, perhaps the brook would hold you up, letting you stroll dreamlike along its melody. The current continues its gentle journey, whispering as it flows, reminding you of something important. Everything is moving, but nothing is rushing. The water's song is a promise that time can be soft, that progress doesn't need to be loud to be real. You breathe deeply, letting that truth sink into you, and feel your own thoughts begin to meander like the stream, wandering, playful, yet calm. Somewhere downstream, you hear the faint laughter of foals who must have come earlier to splash and play. The brook still holds their joy, echoing it back as a lighter tone within its lullaby. Isn't it funny how water remembers? Every ripple carries a little story, and tonight, those stories weave into yours, joining you in this moment of peace. You rise at last, reluctant to leave, but eager to carry the brook's lullaby with you. The sound follows as you step back onto the path, fading gradually, but never fully disappearing. You know you'll hear it again in dreams. The ripple, the splash, the playful hum of water that teaches you how to rest without ever being still. The path curves back toward town, and soon you see a glow unlike the soft lanterns or the moon's pale silver. This light shimmers, bending and flowing as though spun from threads of the night sky itself. You follow it, curiosity gentle but insistent, until you come upon the Carousel boutique. Its rounded, elegant walls gleam faintly, adorned with swirls of trim that catch the moonlight like lace. The windows, tall and curved, glow softly from within. It feels less like a shop, and more like a lantern-shaped jewel set into the quiet of Ponyville's night. The door is ajar, left open to the cool air, and when you step inside, the first sound you hear isn't a voice, but the hush of fabric. Bolts of silk sigh as they brush against one another, a sound like waves lapping gently on a shore made of satin. You take a breath, and the scent of lavender sachets and fresh cotton fills you. It's not overwhelming, just enough to remind you of clean sheets, folded blankets, and the peace of a room waiting for you to rest. Rarity is there, of course, though she doesn't rush to greet you. She's humming to herself, head bent over a length of cloth, her magic weaving needle and thread with a precision that is somehow both exact and graceful. The melody she hums is unhurried, drifting lazily through the air like smoke from a candle. It isn't a performance for anyone, not even for herself. It's simply part of her rhythm, as natural as breathing. You pause near a mannequin draped in half-finished fabric. The way the light spills across the folds makes the cloth look alive, shimmering like water. When the fabric shifts, the whisper it makes is soothing, like pages turning in a book you don't need to read because the story is already inside you. You realize that even here, in a place devoted to beauty and artistry, the lullaby of Ponyville continues, not from crickets or streams this time, but from the rustle of cloth and the gentle hum of creativity at rest. Rarity glances up at you and offers a warm smile, her horn aglow with soft light. "Darling," she says, her voice lilting, "you've arrived at the quietest part of the evening." And then, with a little laugh, she adds, "If you can stay awake among my fabrics, you're stronger than I am." You chuckle softly. You'd probably be fast asleep already if you curled up on one of those velvet cushions piled against the wall. The boutique hums with its own lullaby. The tick-tick of a clock on the far wall, steady and reassuring. The faint creak of the floorboards as Rarity moves, unhurried, graceful. The delicate snap of thread when she finishes a stitch. Each sound is so small, yet together they weave something larger. A song of stillness wrapped in elegance. You run your fingers along a bolt of satin, and the texture sings against your skin. Smooth, cool, with the faintest whisper. The sensation joins the auditory symphony, reminding you that lullabies don't always have to be heard. They can be felt, too, in the brush of fabric, the weight of a blanket, the way softness itself seems to hum when it embraces you. Outside, the breeze shifts the boutique's curtains. They flutter inward, carrying the chirp of a cricket and the faint sigh of night air. The sound mingles perfectly with the rustling cloth, as if nature itself were leaning in to duet with the boutique's music. You notice how seamless the blend is, indoors and outdoors, pony-made and nature-born, each contributing to the same lullaby. Rarity sets aside her work at last and joins you near the cushions. She settles herself with a graceful sigh, mane falling like a silk curtain across her shoulder. For a moment, neither of you speak. You don't need to. The room is filled enough with softness, with hums, with the quiet company of fabrics that seem to glow with their own secret lullabies. You lean back, sinking into the velvets. The cushions give way slowly, holding you in place as though they were designed not for sitting, but for dreaming. You close your eyes briefly, listening again to the layered sounds, fabric brushing, curtains fluttering, a clock ticking, a voice humming, crickets beyond the window. Each one is small, but together they are vast. Together, they create the silken night of the Carousel boutique. And as you open your eyes again, you realize something. Beauty itself can be a lullaby. Not the dazzling kind that demands your attention, but the quiet elegance that waits patiently until you are ready to notice it. The lullaby here spun from threads and light, woven not into gowns, but into the fabric of the evening itself. You rise slowly, thanking Rarity with a nod and a smile. She waves you off with a gentle flick of her hoof, her voice warm as she whispers, "Sweet dreams, darling." Stepping back into the night, you carry with you the hush of silken fabric and the memory of light glowing like stars caught in cloth. And with every step forward, it feels as though your own breath has joined that same soft song, weaving seamlessly into Ponyville's endless lullaby. The boutique fades behind you, its silken lullaby dissolving into the night breeze. And soon the ground tilts gently upward. The air grows cooler as you climb, fresher, with a crispness that feels like clean linen. When you look up, the sky is closer somehow, more open, more vast. And then you see them, tufts of cloud drifting lazily, glowing pale under the moon. High above, Cloudsdale hovers like a dream sculpted from mist, its spires and arches shimmering as though carved from starlight. A Pegasus passes overhead, wings beating slow and steady. You pause to listen. There's a rhythm in it, the soft whoomp-whoomp of feathers pushing air, each stroke like a heartbeat amplified. It's steady, grounding, and before long you realize you're breathing in time with it. Inhale as the wings lift, exhale as they fall. The sound is a lullaby in motion, rocking you in invisible arms. You follow a path up a hill where the grass is short and springy, the kind that cushions your steps with gentle hushes. From here, you can see Cloudsdale more clearly, its waterfalls spilling silver light into the clouds below. The water doesn't crash or roar. It drifts, flowing downward in silence, as though even the rivers of the sky respect the hush of night. Another Pegasus glides past, wings spread wide, catching a current that carries them effortlessly. No flapping now, only the faint whisper of feathers sliding through air. The sound is so soft, you almost wonder if you've imagined it, but then you hear it again, like parchment being turned somewhere in the heavens. You smile. If a library could fly, perhaps it would sound just like this. You lie back in the grass, gazing upward. The clouds drift slowly, changing shape with a patience that makes your body grow heavier, more relaxed. One resembles a cradle, another a pillow, and you chuckle quietly. Of course they do. The sky is tucking you in, as surely as any blanket ever has. You probably wouldn't make it through 5 minutes lying here without nodding off, though you're not sure you'd mind. The night chorus continues all around, crickets chirring, owls calling, frogs humming from distant ponds. But now, above it all, the Pegasus wings weave their own refrain, sometimes steady and strong, sometimes gentle and gliding, always soothing. It's like a mother rocking her child, not rushing, not tiring, simply moving back and forth until rest comes naturally. A cloud drifts lower, close enough to cast a faint shadow across the hill. The air here is damp and cool, carrying the faint sweetness of rain that hasn't yet fallen. You stretch out a hand, half expecting to touch the softness above. Instead, you feel only the night breeze stroking your skin, as though the sky itself is reminding you. Softness can be felt even without being held. More Pegasi appear now, their silhouettes dark against the star-scattered sky. Some fly in pairs, wings beating in quiet harmony. Others drift alone, tracing lazy arcs as though sketching lullabies into the air. You notice how none of them fly hurriedly. There's no rush, no noise, just the steady rhythm of motion, unbroken and unbothered. It's flight as meditation, as rest. You close your eyes for a moment and simply listen. Whoomp whoomp, whoosh. A pause as one catches a current. The faintest feathered rustle. It's hypnotic, like lying beneath a ceiling fan humming above your bed, only softer, more organic. You feel your mind rocking with the rhythm, loosening its grip on the day. Somewhere in the distance, the faintest laugh drifts down. A group of young flyers sharing a game, their joy gentle, never piercing. Even laughter sounds like part of the lullaby up here, cushioned by clouds and distance. It reminds you that peace doesn't mean silence. It means harmony, each sound folded into the whole. As the night deepens, the wing beats slow. Fewer Pegasi remain in the sky now, and the ones still flying are gliding more than flapping, as though even the air itself has grown sleepy. You realize the lullaby is shifting toward its gentlest notes, coaxing not just you, but all of Ponyville into slumber. You rise slowly from the grass, stretching, still feeling the echo of wings in your breath. Looking back once more at Cloudsdale glowing above, you sense its lullaby following you, soft, weightless, eternal. And with each step you take down the hill, you feel lighter, as though part of you has learned to drift along the currents too, carried toward rest on feathered wings. The hill slopes downward, leading you back toward the quiet streets of Ponyville, where cobblestones glimmer faintly with dew and the lamps burn low. their light mellowed to a golden hush. You wander between cottages, past windows glowing softly, until your steps bring you to the most inviting of them all. Sugar Cube Corner. Its gingerbread trim and candy cane beams look almost too sweet to be real, like a storybook illustration come alive. Tonight, though, the bakery doesn't dazzle with bright frosting colors or bouncing balloons. It hums with a gentle coziness, as though the sugar itself has decided to sing you to sleep. You push the door open, and the faint jingle of a bell greets you. But instead of its usual cheerful ring, it's subdued, softened by the hush of nighttime. Inside, the air is warm and sweet, carrying the scent of sugar-dusted cookies cooling on trays, and the deep, comforting aroma of bread resting after a long day of baking. Every inhale feels like a blanket wrapping itself around your senses, promising safety, ease, and rest. The counters are wiped clean, but a few trays of treats remain, left to cool overnight. You notice star-shaped cookies sprinkled with powdered sugar, their edges glowing faintly under the lantern light, as if they've captured pieces of the night sky. One sits closest to you, and you can't help but imagine it humming. Soft, sweet, buttery notes rising from its sugared edges. It's a funny thought, but in Ponyville, you wouldn't be surprised if every pastry carried its own lullaby. Somewhere upstairs, you hear laughter. Quiet, tired, the kind of laughter that comes after a full day's work. The Cake family must be settling in, tucking little ones into bed. Their voices rise and fall like a bedtime story being told just out of earshot. You can't hear the words, but you don't need to. The rhythm is enough. It's a lullaby in spoken form, warm and ordinary and perfect. Pinkie Pie isn't bouncing about tonight. Instead, you spot her behind the counter, mane a little less fluffy, eyelids drooping like heavy curtains. She yawns wide and lets out a giggle at herself, as though even being tired is funny. "Hey there," she whispers, not wanting to wake anyone upstairs. You made it just in time for the softest part of the day. Then, with a wink, she adds, "Careful. You probably won't make it through the smell of warm bread without dozing off." You laugh quietly because she's right. The scent alone feels like a lullaby. Every loaf on the shelf carries a kind of music, the crust crackling softly as it cools. The sound is so faint you have to lean in to catch it, like listening to the tiniest percussion section in the world. Crackle, sigh, pause, crackle again. The bread's way of saying, "I've done my work, now I'm resting too." You settle into a chair near a window, the wooden seat smooth and worn from countless evenings like this. The bakery creaks gently around you, its beams settling, the oven ticking as it cools. It feels alive, but not in a bustling way. In the way a family home breathes quietly when everyone inside is safe and sleeping. Even the silence here tastes sweet. On the table beside you rests a small music box, its handle shaped like a peppermint stick. You wind it gently, and a tune begins to play, tinkling notes as light as sugar crystals falling onto parchment. The melody is simple, repetitive, yet it never grows dull. Each phrase folds over the next, layering like frosting on a cake. You can imagine foals nodding off to it upstairs, their dreams dusted with sprinkles and laughter. Outside the window, a firefly drifts past, its light pulsing in time with the music. Then another joins, and another, until the street outside glimmers with tiny lanterns flickering like frosting candles. The bakery's lullaby has spilled out into the night, and nature has answered with a chorus of light. Pinkie Pie sets a star-shaped cookie in front of you, whispering, "For sweet dreams." You take a small bite, and the sugar dissolves on your tongue, melting into warmth and comfort. The flavor itself feels like part of the lullaby. Soft, gentle, reassuring. You smile, not just at the taste, but at the thought that something so simple could be so magical. The music box winds down at last, its final note hanging in the air like a sigh before silence. You sit a little longer, letting the bakery's warmth seep into your bones. The crackle of bread, the whisper of cookies cooling, the soft laughter upstairs, the drifting fireflies. All of it folds together into the sweetest lullaby yet, one that tastes of sugar and rest. When you finally rise, Pinkie Pie waves you off with another sleepy giggle, already half dozing herself. The bell over the door jingles softly as you leave, and the night air greets you again. But now it carries something new. The memory of Sugar Cube Corner's lullaby, sweet and comforting, tucked like a treat into your pocket for the road ahead. The cobblestone path winds away from Sugar Cube Corner, carrying with it the faint sweetness of powdered sugar clinging to the air. But soon, the scent shifts. There's something earthier here, something grounding. The smell of wood, of ink, of parchment that has soaked up centuries of stories. You follow it, and before long, you find yourself standing before the Golden Oak Library. By day, it's a lively place, buzzing with voices and pages turning. But tonight, it's a lantern in the quiet, glowing softly from its windows. The great oak itself rises like a guardian of knowledge, its leaves whispering overhead in the breeze. You can almost believe that every rustle is a sentence spoken aloud, words the tree remembers from the countless books it has sheltered. The door creaks open as you step inside, and at once you're greeted by the hush of a library at rest. The air is cool and faintly dusty, the kind of dust that comforts rather than irritates, the dust of paper, of old bindings, of time itself settling into stillness. Twilight Sparkle has left a lamp burning low on the table, its golden glow spilling across stacks of books like honey. You pause to listen. The library has its own lullaby, quieter than the babbling brook or the beating of Pegasus wings, but no less present. The crackle of the lamp's flame, the whisper of pages shifting as if exhaling in their sleep, the faint creak of wooden shelves adjusting to the night's coolness. Together they form a music that is as ancient as it is tender. You take a book from the shelf at random. The leather cover sighs softly as you open it, the spine giving a little crack of relief. The pages flutter like wings, the faintest rustle filling the silence. You smile. It feels like the book is humming for you, offering its story even without words. You close your eyes and let the rhythm of flipping pages merge with your breathing, in rustle, sigh. From upstairs, there's the muffled sound of Twilight turning over in bed, perhaps murmuring in a dream, huh? Spike lets out a faint snore, rising and falling like a dragon's purr. These household noises drift down the staircase, small yet comforting, like familiar instruments joining the library's hush. You chuckle softly. You wouldn't have guessed a dragon's snore could make such a soothing lullaby, but here it does. The scent of ink and parchment is thicker near the desk. You trail your hand along its surface, finding scrolls stacked neatly, quills resting like sleeping birds. One quill rolls slightly at your touch, the feather brushing against your wrist with a ticklish whisper. It's such a small thing, but even that sound adds to the harmony. You laugh quietly to yourself, thinking, only here could a tickle be part of a lullaby. The shelves themselves seem alive, groaning faintly as if remembering all they hold. You lean against one, feeling its sturdiness, the way it hums faintly in the stillness. Each shelf is like a string in a giant wooden harp, its note too deep to hear, but somehow felt through your bones. The whole library is the instrument, and you are sitting in its hollow body, listening to the resonance. You settle into a chair, one worn and creaky, but padded with the softness of use. The lamp flickers, casting shadows across the walls that look like illustrations from some forgotten storybook. The shadows dance slowly, gracefully, like characters bowing at the end of a play. You close your eyes and imagine them whispering, "Rest now. The story will wait until morning." The lullaby here is different from the others you've heard tonight. It doesn't move like water, or sing like fabric, or beat like wings. Instead, it teaches you to slow your thoughts, to listen to the quiet words between the words, to realize that even silence tells a story if you lean close enough. And as you listen, your own mind begins to quiet. Paragraphs of worry closing themselves like finished books stacked neatly on some inner shelf. A tiny moth flutters past, drawn to the lamp. Its wings make the faintest sound, like silk brushing air. It circles lazily, as if it too is reading the shadows, before landing softly on a page. You grin. It seems even moths can't resist a bedtime story here. At last, you close the book and return it to the shelf. The spine slides back into place with a satisfying click, as though the library itself sighs with relief at having all its pieces where they belong. You stand for a moment longer, letting the room's hush settle into you. Then, with a nod of thanks to the golden lamp and the sleeping shelves, you slip quietly out the door. The night greets you again, cool and starry, but now it feels different. You carry the library's lullaby with you, a song of pages, shelves, and silence woven into your own rhythm. And with every step forward, you feel lighter, as though you too have been shelved safely in the quiet of Ponyville's night. The library fades behind you, its golden glow tucked gently into the branches of the oak, and the path draws you toward the edge of Ponyville. The air grows hushed here, not from absence, but from abundance. An orchestra so soft it feels like silence until you lean into it. Ahead, the fields stretch wide beneath the stars, rippling with long grasses that move as though the earth itself is breathing. You step onto the meadow, and at once the sound surrounds you. The tall blades of grass sway in slow unison, brushing together with a steady hiss, like the faintest applause given only to the night. Fireflies pulse their lights above the tips, glowing in clusters that blink on and off as though signaling to one another. You find yourself moving more carefully here, each step cushioned by the earth, each breath in rhythm with the field's endless sway. The first note of the meadow's lullaby comes from the crickets. Their chirps are steady, layered. One starts, another answers, and soon the air hums with 1,000 tiny fiddles playing in harmony. Some keep a slow rhythm, others trill higher, but none clash. It's as though the crickets all know the same song and have simply chosen different verses to sing. Then, an owl calls from a nearby tree. The sound is deep, rounded, and full, carrying across the meadow like a drum beat beneath the cricket's strings. Another owl answers from farther off, their voices echoing to one another in long, gentle intervals. The conversation adds gravity to the lullaby, a reminder that even in stillness there is dialogue, connection, and warmth. You sink into the grass, its blades cool and pliant beneath you, bending without complaint. The meadow welcomes you in, and lying there, you notice how the sounds weave together. The cricket's fiddles, the owl's drums, the grass's whispering hush. It is all one piece, a lullaby stitched across the night with invisible thread. Above, the stars glow brighter, unclouded here, infinite. You find yourself counting them, though you lose track almost immediately. Perhaps that's the point. Counting stars feels a little like counting sheep. Endless, soothing, designed to lull you toward a place where numbers don't matter. You chuckle softly. Maybe the stars invented the game first, shining until ponies thought to number them, only to realize there was no finish line. A breeze sweeps the field, and the grasses bow all at once. The sound they make is like the turning of a giant page, as though the meadow itself is closing a chapter and inviting you into the next. You inhale, filling your lungs with a green, earthy scent, tinged faintly with wildflowers blooming unseen in the dark. The smell alone could be its own lullaby, grounding you in the certainty that you are safe, that you are small in the best possible way. Somewhere near your feet, a grasshopper leaps, landing with a papery rustle. Another follows, and then another, until the tiny percussion of hopping bodies adds to the night's chorus. You laugh under your breath. It's as if every creature here has chosen an instrument, and not one of them is out of tune. Even the distant croak of a frog from a hidden pond fits perfectly, like the low brass at the back of an orchestra. You close your eyes, and the meadow swells around you. Without sight, the sounds grow richer. You can tell which direction the breeze comes from by the way the grasses hiss. You can sense the owl's distance by the length of their echo. You can hear the fireflies' wings faintly when they pass close, their tiny hums like fairy-sized violins. The meadow reveals itself more fully in darkness, its lullaby meant to be heard rather than seen. For a while, you let yourself drift, not asleep, not awake. Somewhere in between, where the meadow hums inside you, and your breath is just another part of its rhythm. It feels timeless here. No beginning, no end. Just the steady music of life at rest, carrying you as easily as a cradle. Eventually, you open your eyes again, and the stars seem even brighter, the fireflies braver in their glowing. The lullaby hasn't stopped, but it has shifted, softened, as though sensing you are ready to rise again. You push yourself gently from the grass, brushing dew from your hands, and glance back at the sea of rippling blades. The meadow's song follows you, clinging like a gentle perfume. As you step back onto the path, you know the memory of this place will remain. A chorus of crickets, owls, frogs, and grasses, all weaving a lullaby that doesn't need words. You walk on with the sense that you carry a whole field inside you now, its music steady, eternal, waiting to play whenever you close your eyes. The meadow's whisper fades behind you, though its rhythm still lingers in your chest, like the faint echo of a song you'll carry long after it ends. The path winds onward, curving toward a stand of lanterns glowing faintly along the street. You recognize the way. It leads to the market square. By day, it's alive with chatter, hoofbeats, and the jingle of coins. But tonight, the stalls are closed, the awnings tied down, and the cobblestones bask in a calm they rarely know. At first, you think the square is silent, but when you pause, you hear it. The creak of wooden stalls settling after a busy day. The faint flap of canvas tugged gently by the breeze. The rattle of an empty crate shifting against another. It is the market's sigh, the sound of work completed and rest embraced. You wander between the stands. The air still holds traces of the day. Apples lingering sweet and sharp where Applejack's cart had stood. Cinnamon dusting the air from pastries that had long since been sold. And the earthy tang of carrots and radishes. Faint scents cling to the night like afterthoughts, reminders that the square is alive even in stillness. Above, the lamps burn low, their flames flickering in steady patterns. Each one hums faintly, a soft buzz of fire eating its fuel. Together, the lamps create a kind of chorus, each a tiny flame pulsing as if breathing in time. You realize they're like guardians of the night, keeping the square bathed in safety while everything else sleeps. A stray parchment flutters across the cobblestones, carried by the breeze. You bend to catch it, and the sound it makes, the crisp rustle, the papery hiss, is surprisingly gentle, like the faintest percussion added to the night's music. You laugh softly. Who knew even trash could hum a lullaby here? You rest on the edge of the fountain in the center of the square. By day, water splashes brightly here, but tonight it's only a trickle, as though even the fountain has chosen to nap. The faint drip-drop echoes into the basin, slow and measured. Drip. Pause. Drip. It feels less like water and more like a metronome guiding the entire square's lullaby. The buildings that frame the square breathe too. You can hear the groan of wood adjusting in the cool night air, the faint rattle of shutters catching the breeze, the sigh of ropes that hold awnings in place. These sounds aren't loud enough to notice during the day, but in the quiet of night, They weave into the harmony, reminding you that rest doesn't mean emptiness. It means gentleness. Somewhere in the distance, a cat pads softly, its paws nearly soundless against stone, though you catch the faintest tap of claws when it pauses. It mews once, high and soft, and the note folds neatly into the square's song, a little solo from a nocturnal wanderer. You lean back, gazing at the sky framed by rooftops. The stars look closer here, clustered above the chimneys, as though they too enjoy peeking into Ponyville's marketplace when it's asleep. You breathe deeply, your chest rising and falling in time with the fountain's rhythm, the lamp's hum, the canvas flap. The lullaby has entered you without effort. You are part of it simply by being still. And just then, the wind picks up slightly, sweeping through the stalls with a collective sigh. The canvas flutters more strongly, the ropes groan, the crates shuffle, the parchment flaps again. For a moment, the whole square seems to exhale together, as though joining you in one great, slow breath. Then the wind eases, and everything settles back into its quiet rhythm. You chuckle softly, the sound surprising even yourself in its tenderness. All right, you think, I get it. Even the marketplace knows how to sing me to sleep. You probably wouldn't last a full evening sitting here without dozing off against the fountain's cool stone. When you finally stand, the lullaby follows you, softer now, but still steady, as if the marketplace has folded you into its secret rhythm. As you step from the square, and the cobblestones give way to softer earth again, you carry with you the quiet song of a place that rests as deeply as it bustles, a lullaby of wood, stone, flame, and air, reminding you that every space has its time to sleep. The square drifts behind you, its cobblestones and creaking stalls humming themselves back into quiet, and soon the path leads toward the outer edge of Ponyville. Here, the house is thin, giving way to open spaces where the night feels wider, freer. The air grows cooler, scented faintly with water and moss, and you hear it before you see it, the still, steady breath of the lake. When you reach the shore, the scene steals your own breath for a moment. The water lies so calm it could be glass, reflecting every star with such clarity that it feels as though you are standing between two skies, one above, one below. You step closer, and the surface shivers slightly at your presence, but then stills again, resuming its role as a perfect mirror. The sound here is not loud, not busy. It is the sound of vastness, holding itself still. The faint lapping of water against the bank is soft enough to vanish if you stop listening. But once you notice it, it is unshakable. Lap, pause. Lap, pause. Like a heartbeat slowed to its gentlest rhythm. A frog croaks somewhere near the reeds, its note low and patient, as if marking time. Another answers from farther off, their voices creating a slow duet that drifts across the water. The frog's song doesn't disturb the lake's stillness. It deepens it, anchoring it. Every sound here is deliberate, spaced wide apart, leaving room for silence to speak, too. You lower yourself onto the grass, the blades damp with dew. The earth is cool, firm, and welcoming beneath you. From this angle, the lake's reflection expands until you almost forget which way is up. Stars shimmer above and below, and for a dizzying, beautiful moment, you feel like you're floating between them, suspended in endless space. A ripple disturbs the mirror surface, a fish rising briefly, then vanishing again. The circle it leaves spreads outward, distorting the stars, making them wobble and twinkle as if they're laughing at the gentle trick. You smile, realizing that even in silence, the lake has a sense of humor. It's a lullaby with a wink, soft enough not to startle, playful enough to remind you that rest can be light-hearted. The reeds sway at the edges of the shore, brushing together with the sound of silk gowns rustling in a slow dance. A breeze threads through them, carrying their whisper along the water. The air tastes fresher here, cool on your tongue, as though the lake is offering you its clarity. You inhale deeply, feeling the crispness settle in your chest like a cool drink. The moon rises higher, casting a wide silver path across the lake's surface. It looks like a road, glowing and infinite, stretching to the horizon. You find yourself staring, lulled by the illusion that if you stepped onto it, you might walk forever into the heart of the night. The thought is so mesmerizing that your body softens just imagining it. You could walk, you could float, or perhaps you could simply drift until sleep carried you all the way. Somewhere far across the lake, a loon cries, its voice a long, mournful note that pierces the silence, yet somehow enriches it. The sound echoes over the water, doubled, stretched, softened, until it feels less like a cry and more like a prayer. You close your eyes, letting it wash through you. You probably wouldn't last 5 minutes listening to that call without slipping into dreams. And perhaps that's what the loon intends. For a while, you lie there, listening to the water, the frogs, the reeds, the far-off bird. Your breath matches the rhythm of the lapping shore. Your body grows heavier, as if gravity has doubled near the lake, drawing you closer to rest. Yet at the same time, your mind feels lighter, unburdened, like the stars reflected in the water. When you finally rise, you move slowly, not wanting to disturb the lake's glassy calm. The reflection shivers once more as you step away, but soon it smooths back into perfection, as if nothing had ever touched it. The lullaby continues, unbroken, eternal, ready for the next listener who comes seeking peace. You carry the lake's stillness with you, its mirrored stars folded into your memory like a secret pocket of sky. With each step down the path, you feel its rhythm in your body. Lap, pause, lap, pause. A heartbeat of water, guiding you deeper into the night. The path from the lake curves upward, following the gentle rise of a hill. The night feels taller here, the stars crowding closer as though leaning down to listen. The breeze cools, scented faintly with lavender and the faint spice of distant pines. It carries something else, too, an almost imperceptible shimmer, like the soft ringing of bells too far away to hear clearly. You pause, and the sound grows, not in volume, but in presence, settling around you like a cloak. It is the signal of Princess Luna's domain. At the crest of the hill, the world opens wide. You see Ponyville stretched below, lanterns glowing like fallen stars scattered across the darkened town. But your gaze is drawn upward, to the sky where the moon hangs full and radiant. Its silver light pools across the land, turning fields to oceans and rooftops to shimmering waves. The stars cluster thickest near the moon, as though gathering to hear the lullaby themselves. You feel it then, the tug, not on your body, but on your mind. Luna is at work, weaving dreams through her invisible threads. Her lullaby is not a sound you hear with your ears. It is something you sense in the marrow of your bones, a vibration that eases the weight from your thoughts. You close your eyes, and the threads brush against you, silken, cool, glowing faintly in your imagination. They drift like strands of moonlight, winding around your worries, tying them gently, and then dissolving them into mist. It feels like someone smoothing a blanket over you, tucking you in, making certain that nothing harsh will enter your dreams tonight. And though you cannot see her directly, you imagine her, Luna soaring high above, her wings outstretched, her horn glowing with silver fire. Her voice, when it comes, is softer than mist on your cheek, lower than a whisper, yet it fills you as though she has spoken your name. Rest, little one. Dream sweetly. You are safe. The words aren't spoken aloud, yet you know them. The lullaby of the princess isn't made of notes, but of assurances, a steady rhythm of trust and protection. Around you, the dream-carriages begin to glide across the sky. You blink, and there they are, chariots made of light and shadow, drifting silently as they carry sleeping ponies through landscapes of wonder. You glimpse gardens blooming with crystal flowers, seas of stars that ripple like water, forests where every tree glows from within. Each carriage floats as weightlessly as a feather, its passengers smiling in their slumber, their worries left far behind. One carriage pauses overhead, shimmering with hues of midnight blue and silver. For a moment, it feels as though it waits for you. You can almost feel the cool leather of its seat, the gentle sway as it carries you into a dreamscape sculpted just for your heart. You laugh softly, whispering to yourself, I probably wouldn't make it past the first mile before dozing right off. The carriages drift onward, their silver wheels leaving no mark against the night sky. The threads they trail behind sparkle faintly, weaving together like an intricate tapestry that blankets the world below. Each pony, each dream, connected in a web of peace. It is the soundless symphony of sleep, and you are part of it simply by standing beneath it. The moon brightens, its glow more tender than sharp. You realize Luna has painted this night deliberately. Not just light, not just sound, but the perfect harmony between them. She is the composer, the sky her score, the dreams her instruments. And in this music, there is no fear, only release. You sink to the grass, the hilltop cool beneath you. For a long while, you simply watch as the carriages drift, as the threads weave, as the moonlight folds itself over the earth. Every breath you take matches the rhythm of that unseen lullaby. In, out, in, out. Until you no longer know where your breath ends and the song begins. When at last you rise, the sky feels different. Not emptier, but fuller, as though you've been given a piece of it to carry within. You walk down from the hill, the memory of Luna's whisper soft in your mind. Rest, dream, be safe, and with every step, you feel those silver threads following, light as air, reminding you that no matter where you wander, the lullaby of the night sky will always find you. The path slopes gently downward from the hill, leading you back toward the heart of Ponyville. The silver threads of Luna's dreamscape still cling faintly around you, like strands of cobweb glowing with starlight, and each step feels cushioned, softened by the lullaby that hums in your chest. The town lies ahead, darker now, its lanterns dwindled to a few glowing embers. Yet, one place still flickers warmly, like a heartbeat glowing steady against the quiet night. It is the hearth. You follow the glow to a wide, low house at the edge of the square. Smoke curls lazily from its chimney, carrying with it the faint scent of oak and applewood. The door stands slightly ajar, spilling a sliver of golden light onto the cobblestones. You step inside, and at once you are embraced by warmth, the kind that wraps you fully, seeping into skin and spirit alike. A fire crackles merrily in the hearth, its flames twisting into shapes that dance across the stone walls. Around it, cushions and blankets are scattered, and you see ponies nestled in, their eyes heavy, but smiles soft. Applejack leans back with her hat tipped over her eyes. Rainbow Dash sprawls in a chair with wings half folded, and Pinkie Pie has curled up in a blanket so puffy it looks like frosting. Twilight sits cross-legged with a book resting, but unread in her lap, her eyelids drooping. Rarity yawns delicately, hiding it behind a hoof, while Fluttershy strokes a rabbit that has fallen asleep against her. They all stir enough to smile when you enter, and someone pats the spot nearest the fire. You sink down, the cushion sighing beneath you, the warmth of the flames wrapping around your chilled hands. The fire's lullaby is unlike the meadow or the lake or the moon. It is alive, playful even, full of little pops and snaps that remind you of laughter disguised as sound. The crackle of logs forms a rhythm, irregular yet constant, like the heartbeat of the night itself. Sparks rise occasionally, floating like tiny fireflies before fading. Each one feels like a whispered joke told by the flames, and you catch yourself smiling more than once. You think, with a small laugh, you probably wouldn't make it more than a few pages into any bedtime story here before the fire's warmth carried you off to dreamland. Conversation flows softly among the ponies, but it never jars the hush. Instead, their voices are woven into the lullaby, low, affectionate, tinged with sleep. Stories are told in fragments, half laughed through, half mumbled, as though each word could just as easily be a dream. Someone recalls a moment from the day. Someone else giggles, and the sound is as soft as the flutter of wings. Even the silences between words are comfortable, full of trust. The hearth itself glows brighter with each shared breath, as though it feeds not just on wood, but on companionship. It is a circle of warmth and belonging, a place where even quiet feels alive. You lean back, resting your head against the chair, and let the blend of fire crackles, sleepy laughter, and murmured words wash over you. A pot of cocoa steams gently on the table, its surface trembling when the fire pops loudly, as though it too joins in the conversation. The faint scent of chocolate drifts upward, mingling with the applewood smoke, creating a lullaby not just for the ears, but for the nose and tongue as well. Someone hands you a cup, warm between your palms, and the sip you take is like liquid dusk, sweet, velvety, and grounding. Around you, the group begins to fade into slumber, one by one. Heads droop onto shoulders, hooves tuck beneath chins, and soon the room is full of the quiet chorus of friends breathing in sync. Even Pinkie's soft snores are rhythmic, like a tuba puffing gently beneath the lighter instruments of sleep. The hearth, meanwhile, continues its song. The flames dim slightly, their crackle softening into a low hum. It feels as though the fire knows it has done its job well, keeping watch as its friends drift away. You close your eyes, listening. The hearth's lullaby is less about sound now and more about feeling. The weight of safety, the glow of togetherness, the hush that says you are home. When you finally rise, the ponies remain curled and peaceful, their faces calm, their dreams cradled by the fire's glow. You slip quietly back into the night, carrying the hearth's warmth with you like an ember tucked into your chest. The path outside is darker, but you don't feel the chill. Every step carries a remnant of the laughter, the firelight, the cocoa's sweetness. You know the memory of this hearth will remain, a song that hums in the background of every night to come. The door of the hearth closes softly behind you, and the night greets you once more. But something has changed. Ponyville is quieter now, as though the town itself has finally curled up under a great starry blanket. The lanterns along the streets are dim embers, glowing faintly, not to light the way, but simply to whisper, "We're still here, even in the dark." The cobblestones cool beneath your steps, and overhead, the stars have gathered thick, crowding close for the night's grand finale. You walk slowly, savoring each sound that rises around you. The rustle of leaves along the path, the gentle flap of a curtain in the distance, the hush of your own breath. They are not separate now. They are part of a greater whole. The lullabies of Ponyville, all the ones you have followed tonight, are folding together into something larger, something seamless. The trees along the edge of the town bend slightly in the breeze, their branches creaking with the ease of well-worn lullabies. Somewhere far away, the brook you once lingered beside hums faintly, its ripples softened into memory. You can almost hear Fluttershy's birds, though they must surely be asleep, their final notes still hanging in the cool night air. Sweet Apple Acres feels present too, the cricket's fiddles still steady in the rhythm of your heart. It is as though every place, every sound has gathered here, following you into this moment. The crackle of the hearth, the hush of the meadow, the silver threads of Luna's dream-carriages, even the mirrored silence of the lake, all of it weaving together, braided into one lullaby vast enough to carry every pony, every dreamer, every soul. The breeze grows softer, warmer. It brushes your cheek like a mother's hand, tucking you in, like a foal's sigh in sleep. You smile, realizing this is the heart of Ponyville's lullaby. Not any single voice, not any single place, but the harmony of many, together. You pause at the edge of town and turn back one last time. Ponyville lies peaceful, bathed in moonlight and starlight, a village that has sung you gently into calm. Its rooftops gleam faintly, its windows sleep soundly, its friends breathe in unison. You whisper a thank you, not loud, not even words, just a breath carried on the night air. And the town seems to sigh back, acknowledging your presence, blessing your dreams. As you step forward, the lullaby follows. It does not fade. It lives in the rhythm of your breath, in the steady beat of your heart, in the softness of the air. You realize that you could be far from Ponyville, and still, if you close your eyes and listen, the song will return, reminding you of crickets and streams, of cocoa and firelight, of silver threads weaving through the sky. The lullaby does not end. It carries you gently into dreams. And now, dear dreamer, the time has come to let everything grow slower, softer, quieter. Imagine yourself lying back beneath those stars, your body weightless yet grounded, your thoughts drifting like clouds across a night sky. Each sound you have gathered tonight, the crickets, the brook, the fire's crackle, the whispers of reeds, the hush of wings, blends into one, a lullaby that no longer needs to be named. It is here, surrounding you, within you, steady and endless. Your breath falls easily into rhythm, deep and gentle. Inhale, like drawing in the scent of apple blossoms. Exhale, like releasing a lantern to drift upward. Each breath loosens you further, untangling every thread of the day, leaving only peace in its place. You feel warm, safe, and deeply held, as though Ponyville itself has curled around you in a quiet embrace. The moon watches from above, patient and kind, its silver light smoothing the edges of your thoughts. The stars flicker softly, playful and constant, promising they'll remain to guard you through the night. The ground beneath you is steady, the air around you kind, and the song that carries you forward is endless, cradling you closer and closer to dreams. Let go now. Let the lullabies of Ponyville carry you fully. You are safe. You are cherished. You are exactly where you are meant to be. Resting, floating, dreaming. Sleep well, sweet friend. Until next time, may every sound around you sing you gently into peace. Sweet dreams.